What up, though? This is Knockouts and Three Counts. But before we bring you another episode of Podcast Gold, let me tell you about the homies over at Michigan's Finest. Do you ever find yourself trying to get yourself together and thinking, man, this is going to be a great night, but I'm looking for that little extra something? Well, check out our friends at Michigan Finest. If you are into medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, concentrates, vapes, anything of that sort, Michigan's Finest has got you covered. And as you can see here, it's all easily done by their website. It's all curbside, and you'll be in and out in 2 minutes. And they're family owned and operated, so customer service is their number one goal. And now, since they are rocking with Knockouts and Three Counts, use the code KO3MF. Yes, that's KO3MF. You get 10% off your entire order, but that does exclude featured items and items that are already on sale. But if you use that code, you're getting 10% off your items, and I promise you, either if you're looking for that big knockout or you're ready to hit the sheets for that 3 count, Michigan's Finest will get you together. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you, and I promise you, you're going to be having a great night. Peace.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
We got a new world champion! That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
What up, though? It is a Thursday. This is Knockouts and 3 Counts. Corey's still hanging shit on a shingle. Garage doors. With that being said, this is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and man, is it a lot to talk about. And we've got not just in the world of MMA and combat sports, and obviously WrestleMania season. Clash season day is this weekend. We've got the return of our buddy Mathew Priest. How you doing, brother man?
Excellent. Thank you guys for having me. It's a big week, and it's just the best all-around sports time of the year. I'm not a big fan of spring, but I love what spring brings in as sports-wise and in combat sports and athletics and everything. It's a fun time to be a fan.
And we get rid of this gray-ass weather that Michigan's been spitting out. I'm just saying.
Lying,
I, for one, am seriously ready for just sunshine and it not to be fucking gray every day. Hey! I'm leaving for LA on Thursday. You shut up before that shit starts showing up in LA too.
Leave your snow pants hanging by the door just in case. You know what I mean?
What up, though, Chris? At least SoFi Stadium is a dome stadium, so at least that way we're all right. I don't got to worry about getting snowed on or rained on or none of the other shit like when we went to New York. So at least
rain could be a problem. There was that college football game at SoFi. It's like a canopy, and there was those videos of it flooding on the walkways. So hopefully it doesn't rain. But.
Priest,
no bad vibes.
If you don't come in here,
that's I think the biggest
on my parade.
I think the biggest misconception with SoFi is that it is all enclosed, and then people get there and they're like, "What the hell is this?" They had weather delays for football games, and the rain can creep in. It's a lightning factor. We're just gonna hope nothing happens. Tornadoes have hit LA this week for the first time ever. Snow hit LA a couple weeks ago for the first time in 30 years. What could possibly go wrong for WrestleMania in LA?
Yeah,
here, bro.
Kyle's
gonna sat there and got soaked in a fucking suit while I sat there at WrestleMania in New York. Priest, if you don't stop coming in here with this fucking negative energy, I don't need your shit today.
I'm getting it all out of the way. I'm putting it out there so that it's happening now, and then wait for the March 30th to April 3rd. It's just blue skies.
I don't give a fuck if it pours in LA as soon as I'm out of there. As long as I'm out of LA, I don't give a fuck if it pours, all right? But it can't pour while I'm in WrestleMania. It can't piss on my parade because I need a vacation, like Jeezy said, man. I need a vacation. So I am looking forward to LA. I'm looking forward to seeing what's popping out on the West Coast. I haven't been out to LA in a few years. Looking forward to linking up with the homie Mega Ran out there. We're going to be live and in living color out there at WrestleCon. We've got a table there. We also will be, he is now DJing at Wale Mania too. Like this just in, motherfuckers. Right. He's DJing at Wale Mania. So if you see my ass up there styling and profiling in that purple and white Nature Boy hoodie, come get you some and buy me a drink. That's all I'm saying. But with that being said,
big old margarita.
I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with a good margarita, preferably strawberry. But you know, I'm just saying.
I like my margaritas the size of my head, so.
Yeah, I know, but you got the bladder the size of a pissant.
It's all right. It happens. Hey, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. We don't talk about that, all right?
You've already told the stories. I mean, shit, if they subscribe, man, which they already should be doing.
I had so many margaritas almost flooded Fremont Street. It wasn't a good time.
Dude,
I mean, it was a great time.
You drank a fucking 32-ounce margarita in literally 5 minutes, and we were leaving from another bar when you drank said margarita. Like,
I felt like I didn't have a choice, dude. Spandex Express was on stage.
Spandex Nation, metal. Sir, don't you fuck up their name.
Whatever. It's just as good. 80s hair metal margaritas in Las Vegas. What was I supposed to do? Come on.
I didn't say I was mad at you for getting the margarita. I'm just trying to illustrate for those who aren't watching this on the video and are watching it or listening to it on the podcast platform. I appreciate you. Leave those 5-star ratings. That you have the bladder the size of a pissant, and it didn't help things. Old man season. I'm with it. Let's go, dude. Hopefully, my stomach decides to have a temper tantrum during somebody's entrance like Kofi Mania again. But before we get to WrestleMania season, it's Seize the Day season. So, first of all, Priest, how are you feeling headed into Seize the Day? For those who are new to maybe Clash Wrestling and haven't checked it out, let them know the significance of Seize the Day for Clash Wrestling and, what are some of your favorite Seize the Day memories?
Yeah, Seize the Day is the show that started it all for Clash Wrestling. January of 2008, the very first Clash Wrestling show in Taylor, Michigan took place, and it was called Seize the Day. And here we are 15 years later, Seize the Day 16 going to happen. It's pretty cool. It's something that nobody ever thought we would get to a point where 15 years later, we're still running shows. When Clash kind of started, it was very much a kind of shunned upon by a lot of people. You know, I was working with BCWA as well at the time, also shunned on by a lot of people. There were two promotions that kind of changed Michigan wrestling landscape as we know it, and made everybody more competitive and brought everybody up. So, the first Seize the Day, it holds a special place. I think in all of our hearts. It's a really cool experience that we got to put that show on. And then through the years, we've had like I said, this is Seize the Day 16th. I wrestled actually my second to last match I physically had was at a Seize the Day. I believe it was 7 years ago when I 6 or 7 years ago, I wrestled at a Seize the Day. I think I've only wrestled at 2 Seize the Days. I've ring announced 8 of them, I believe, hosted and managed on one. Like, I've been a part of a lot of them. But my favorite memory of Seize the Day has to be when, Marty Jannetty was there. Just down to earth guy. Another great memory I have was actually,
I was at that show
when Petey Williams first showed up in Clash Wrestling and was competing at Seize the Days and defending his championship. The Clash Championship, and he was tearing it up. And him and Gavin Quinn had an excellent match. And speaking of Gavin Quinn, him and Dragon Creed had a great steel cage match at a Seize the Day as
Dragon
well.
Creed too.
So real awesome memories. I mean, there's so many. Just Clash Wrestling as a whole. We've been doing it for so long. Speaking of a couple of those guys, I mean, your main event of the first Seize the Day was a fatal 4-way with Tommy Tresnick, Cameron Sky, Gavin Quinn, and Juntai. And here we are. Those guys were in a fatal 4-way for the championship, and now here we are at Seize the Day this Saturday night, in Allen Park, Michigan, 7:30 p.m. They're going to be competing for the tag team championships. The 4 of them all in the same match together, as Tresnik and Sky now have aligned. H3RD defending the titles against Lotus, who is Gavin Quinn and Juntai, 2 of the best tag teams the Midwest has ever seen. They've literally wrestled in just about every major promotion in the Midwest. They've both spent time in ROH, Chikara. Lotus didn't spend time in ROH, but they worked for Evolve.
I remember that.
And had a few matches in Evolve. So these guys are world traveled. Lotus has competed in multiple countries. I mean, this is a big match. And it's the guys who, the founding fathers of Clash Wrestling, the Mount Rushmore, if you will, the 4 guys the company's built on. And here we are again competing. And it's fun this year because we have a special guest who was on some of those early Clash Wrestling shows in 2010, 11, 12. I mean, in 2018, he wrestled his last time he was with Clash Wrestling, but now he's in AEW. You see him every Wednesday night. All Ego Ethan Page is going to be in the house, returning to Clash Wrestling. It's been a few years since he's been there, but this is a guy who's wrestled on many Clash shows and has wrestled Gavin Quinn up in Canada several times. So it's going to be really cool to have Ethan Page there. He's scheduled right now to take on the Golden Gun, Mark Wheeler, a tremendous upcoming talent from Canada. He's wrestled on AEW, I believe, Dark, and he's had many opportunities. So 2 key feature matches. I can run down more of the card, but I feel like I've been flapping my gums for a few minutes. If you got any more questions or anything before I continue on.
Something I wanted to ask you about is, as I mentioned, I've been checking out Clash since I was a sophomore in high school. I was at some of those SEASA days. I was at the one with Marty Jannetty. With that being said, tell me about Lotus, having this match again, because, they had split when Gavin Quinn kind of stepped away. We've seen them come back as a tag team. I remember the first time we had Sam Adonis on the show when Movado was going to Mexico, it was taking Lotus with them. So tell me about them being back in action as a tag team. GQ's return to the ring. I mean, I've seen them both as a tag team. I remember seeing GQ as the Clash champion there. So with that being said, like I said, that was something that jumped out to me on that card right off the rip.
Well, yeah, and Lotus, they came back, I believe, last year at Seize the Day. These 2 teams wrestled each other, and it was Gavin Quinn's first match back. And the one thing with the pandemic, while it hurt a lot of promotions, including Clash, it gave guys time to heal and gave Gavin Quinn a chance to take that time he needed away from the ring and come back when he felt ready. He was medically cleared and just got everything in order to be able to compete again, where, with the grind he was doing for years there was no way he could keep up with that. With the injuries he had sustained, and same with Juntai. I mean, so the pandemic, while a lot of people were hurting, not getting in action, it helped a lot of these guys who've been busting their ass for, at that time, 12, 13 years, week in, week out, not a weekend off, and let themselves heal up from some injuries. And they decided that they would come back and, rekindle the Lotus, which was doing great, and see what they still had left in the tank.
J-Bone, did you ever make I know you went out to BCWA a bunch, which is how you found your way to the show. Did you ever get to check out Clash very much?
I did. I actually did. Was it about a year ago? I was at one. It was I seen the tag team matches, Forever Young versus Solo and Elk, I believe it was. Am I right? About a year ago, I think so. Yeah, I got to step in there for a minute, man. We were passing by, me and my cousin Corey, and we didn't get to stay around long, but I got to check it out. You always see Clash coming down the news feed, man. I like it personally because I think it sticks out with the green. The green and black's always been my favorite thing. But like I said, for years, I know it's been around.
You just wanted to look like the Green Lantern. All right.
That's what it reminds me of, actually. That's one of my favorites. So there you go.
Yeah, so funny story about that is, 2006, when we were coming up with the concept of Clash Wrestling and the logos, green's a color that Tresnik and I both like quite a bit. And, we were coming up with different logos and fonts, and we're like, there's not a lot of green in wrestling promotions, and let's just focus on the green. We had a gold trim around it. It was like green with a gold trim, and then the black behind it. And then, as time evolved, it just kind of became different shades of green, which has made it fun. But having the green ropes, green and yellow ropes at one point, but just green ropes, light colored mat, kind of set us apart from a lot of other companies that always gone with the red or the black. Even blue's pretty common, but you don't see green as much as you do. I mean, still here we are 15 years later, and there's not a lot of promotions that focus on green anywhere.
I mean,
Right.
he's not wrong. I mean, like I said, I've yeah, that's why you need to go follow the J-Bone show.
Green's a very good color.
Nice product placement there, guy. But with that being said, J-Bone covers all the music things. Any of you guys who are rock fans, maybe you should hit that subscribe button, because I heard Chris Cale from Five Finger Death Punch might be coming through here again next month. So,
nice.
Like I said,
Great
you guys
band.
need to check that out, man. I just got to hang the jersey that the Tigers gave him on the wall over there. So we've talked about Lotus. Like I said, there's somebody that I've seen as a staple around, the Detroit scene for a while. I mean, is there, other than the Lotus match, what do you think is going to be that show stealer match on there? What do you think is going to be the one that you can pick out?
Well, there's going to be high expectation on Ethan Page and Mark Wheeler, of course. I mean, Ethan Page is on AEW. Mark Wheeler's probably a year away from being on your televisions relatively regularly. The championship, the Clash Wrestling Championship, Ren Jones, the swag champ himself. He is an outstanding talent. You've seen him. He's a face that you're going to see and recognize. If you've never been to a Clash Wrestling show, you've seen this man many times in WWE in different roles as security or doctors or whatever it might be. He's been on AEW numerous times. He has an AEW record. I think he's like 0-8, but hey, nonetheless, he's been on Dark. He's been on Dynamite. He's taken on another guy who's been on Dynamite, James Alexander, who's also been on 205 Live. Their rivalry goes back to Ren Jones' first match in Clash Wrestling, which James Alexander lost the Clash Championship. And his first match after losing the championship was against Ren Jones, and he defeated Ren Jones. And a few years later, here we are, and Jones is now the champion. James Alexander is on a winning streak looking to reclaim the title. But former champion Jake Christ, Ring of Honor, you catch him weekly on the show. Also in AEW recently, and Impact Wrestling, former cruiserweight, X Division champion. These guys are signing up for a triple threat match. Jake Christ wants his title back. He's getting his rematch. Triple threat rules. Ren Jones doesn't have to get pinned to lose the belt. You could have both Alexander and Chris, both former champions, looking to reclaim their title from the swag champ. And that match there, probably the match that people aren't looking at, that I think is going to be the epitome of the show. And we can't discount right now. We have Allison Kay, Detroit's own, making her return to Clash Wrestling. Someone I'm very, very close with and very, very happy to have on the show. And she's going to be taking on Alexia Nicole. And she's a phenomenal talent herself. Also been at AEW. Allison Kay, AEW, fresh off Impact, NWA, Mae Young Classic. I mean, these are two world-traveled women and two of the best on the independent scene. And they're going to get in the ring and they're going to tangle. And who knows what's going to happen. But I think that's another match that sneaky could steal the show and have the match that when people walk out of there, they're going, man, Allison Kay and Alexia Nicole, why are these two women not on TV? Because they're outstanding talents.
Can't argue that one, dude. We've obviously had our eyes on AK for a long time. From her first run in Impact, I've seen her in Clash multiple times. We just saw her, like you said, come back to Impact. We've also had, seen her with her run with the Hex with her partner and fellow past guest of the show, Marty Bell. Dude, we got nothing but love for AK here. Still got to get her on the show here at some point, but it's definitely
amazing that she hasn't, considering that she's had fights. She loves the fights.
We literally shot the shit the last time I saw her about the local MMA gym scene here, and she goes, damn, if you know that, you really are around the MMA scene here. But I tried, but
yeah.
Hey, what can I say, man? Y'all want to see it happen? You know what to do. Make sure.
Well, I think she goes on her. I think she runs her Twitch the same time you guys run your show. So that.
Part of it's got to do with people not answering emails, not her.
Hey, it happens. It happens. Nonetheless,
part of the game. You already know the game, but it's all good.
Yeah. So
I think
that's
Clash season today is going to be money. Like I said,
Absolutely.
I've been there for plenty of them. I'm looking forward to seeing what we see come out of this one. Ren Jones is somebody that I've seen down at the Sanctuary and other places as well. And like you say, he's been doing his thing on AEW. Jake Christ is somebody who, if you haven't seen him, we got to do a lot of stuff with the homies from Circle 6 when they came to town. And Jake Christ telling us some of the stories, like saving the guy from a burning car and just his whole run back to wrestling, dude. Jake Christ in a ring is something you don't want to miss. They had the what they call the ladder match, J-Bone, for Circle 6.
Boy, it was the hybrid ladder match.
Match. That's what it was.
Different colored ladders.
Yes.
Each guy has
and that was gnarly, dude.
Yeah, Josh created that match with hybrid wrestling back in the day. I mean, hybrid wrestling in 2008, right there with Clash Wrestling, they were kind of like cousin companies, if you will. So a lot of those guys, running, circles intermingled. A lot of the guys from Clash were working hybrid and Clash. So there's always been somewhat of a partnership there. So I'm very familiar with the hybrid ladder match. It's a great concept match. And a lot of people don't remember hybrid wrestling, but that was a phenomenal promotion for its short run. They're out of, Northwest Ohio. Tremendous promotion. So happy that Ricky and the boys are honoring their legacy, and what a great promotion that was with that ladder match.
I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out next for Circle 6, especially now that Ricky is out of Circle 6 and where he's headed to go do what he's doing.
MLW, right?
Yeah, he's doing MLW. And then you got, our homie, the American Kaiju, Miss Lindsay Snow, has got the American Kaiju Cannabis Cup that's going down with Circle 6 WrestleMania weekend, too. So,
very cool.
Shout out to them. Shout out to them for doing their thing. Priest, let everybody know where they can get their tickets. Can you still get them at the door? Where they can check out Clash Wrestling?
Tickets still available at the door. Pre-order is still going on. You can go find Clash Wrestling on Facebook, Instagram. I think it's like clashwrestling.com/GoDaddy sites. URL issues through the years. The pandemic wasn't kind to us there. So it's an issue that's being worked on, I understand. But if you go to any of the at Clash Wrestling on social medias, you're going to find it. You're going to have a link to get your tickets. Tickets will be available at the door. The tickets are moving fast. I don't know what our capacity is in Allen Park. It's a gymnasium, so there's a lot of seats. I don't know how many seats, but I know we have like 500, and I don't know for sure. I just assume in a gym you're good for 500 seats, but tickets are moving. Since the pandemic, this is our highest pre-sale show. So I don't know how much is left. That's going to be kind of a day of decision at the door. So if you're coming, get there early, get your tickets. You don't want to be left in the standing room or unfortunately get the door closed on you. There have been events in the past. Clash 100 back at the Taylortown Trade Center had to turn people away with over 700 people in attendance, and fire marshal was not allowing any more people into the building. And, we've had issues with venues in the past where we've been at capacity, and, so just get there early, get your tickets early, make sure you got a nice seat. Cause the Allen Park Community Center is a beautiful place. It's a big gymnasium. And it's a good experience. It's a family experience too. I can't stress that enough with Clash Wrestling. You can bring your kids, you can bring the whole family. One thing that we do that separates everything apart, big part of my main event ring introduction, is getting all the kids in attendance, get them around the ring. And as we do the main event introductions, they're pounding on the mat, creating an environment. There's a lot of TikTok videos and other videos out there that have gone pretty good for the company in having that kid-friendly environment and making them part of the show and making it a full family event is what separates us from a lot of indies. Because there's not very many indie promotions right now where you can really bring your kids to, especially in the Detroit area, unless the language doesn't bother you. But if you're a parent that's trying to watch the exposure of language and violence to your children. Clash Wrestling is a safe wrestling show you can bring the kids to.
Hell yeah, man. Clash Wrestling is where it's at. Make sure you're there and seize the day. Get you a ticket. Make sure you don't miss it.
Yes.
All right. Now that we have gotten the biznatch out of the way,
appreciate that.
How y'all? No problem. Like I said, we're definitely big supporters of Clash Wrestling over here, so it's not a problem, not a thing. Nothing but a chicken wing. But with that being said, there's a lot of shit going on in wrestling. A lot of people right now are talking about what went down last night with AEW Dynamite, the banger that we saw with El Hijo del Vikingo versus Kenny Omega. Priest, what have you been watching in the world of wrestling? Did you get to check out that match? What did you think?
I did not get to see that match in its entirety. I've seen a lot of clips from it. Unfortunately, with real life Dynamite, sometimes doesn't get watched until the weekend. But I've seen a lot of clips from it. It's not my cup of tea per se, but you got two phenomenal athletes, two of the best athletes in pro wrestling, Kenny Omega and El Hijo del Viking, who just the clips. I mean, if you go, there's Warrior Wrestling show out of Chicago, which was, I believe, in Grand Rapids, actually had a massive viral clip maybe 6 weeks ago, where he jumped off of the way the building was set up. It was like tiered. He jumped off like a brick balcony off the top rope. And he's just an insane talent. If you do enough Googling of this guy, your jaw is going to drop. And then same with Kenny Omega, who's been, he's any independent hardcore wrestling fan knows who he is and knows what he's capable of. So, it's going to be a car crash match, not necessarily something that I enjoy to watch, but I'll watch it. I'll be mesmerized, but it's not something that, I love. I think they're extremely talented. They're both good, but I don't necessarily love the psychology behind it. Two guys who are being scheduled in a dream match, and the match starts with a guy running and diving onto the other guy on the floor when there's no heat there. It just takes me out of it. But I've seen enough highlights to know the story that they were trying to tell. I got to see a 6 or 7 minute video package of the match. Has been prepped for this, but again, I'm sure it's a phenomenal match for that type of fan that likes that, and just not for me. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's something in pro wrestling for everybody. I think, again, the talents are astronomical. It's going to be great if you're into that style of pro wrestling.
All right, J-Bone, how you feeling on El Hijo de Vikingo?
Look, one thing I just want to point out. Look at what just happened there. It's not his cup of tea, right? Now, if you say shit like that on Twitter, you get fucking drugged through the mud. It's ridiculous, dude, how toxic wrestling is on Twitter. But, dude, yeah. I agree with you. It's not for everybody. Absolutely not. There are certain people that are into certain matches and certain wrestling, which I think is beautiful because, like you said, there's plenty of wrestling for everyone.
Yeah.
But this match, honestly, for me, dude, is a very fast-paced, hard-hitting, crazy spots. Some say a little too much. I mean, I could agree. What I would like more would be a bigger story behind it. Kyle, we always say this. I like my wrestling with stories and layers.
Yeah.
Great match. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful match. Definitely well done. Awesome. But for me personally, I just like stories, man. But all in all, other than that, great match. Loved it. Banger.
Yeah, that shit was pretty gnarly. I think that match was nothing more than a showcase for Vikingo to really get to, apply what everybody is seeing on the indies and in AAA, because that's the other thing you got to take into account. He was also the AAA mega champion.
Yes.
So it's not even though AEW fans know, maybe everybody doesn't know who he is. The guy's definitely building his name. And what's crazy is he's only 25.
Yeah. He had a run in Impact recently, too. I saw him in Impact on TV.
He's shown up a few places, man.
Yeah, he's been around. You have to be you have to be into wrestling to know a casual viewer, but AEW isn't really, they're not catering to the casual viewers, they're catering to the audience, and the ratings were up from what I saw, so good on them.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty gnarly and a quick and easy place to see that with El Hijo del Vikingo. Check out our homie Martin over at Wrestling with Unicorns, man. They had that clip
awesome
from
guy.
Warrior Wrestling that went fucking insanely stupid viral. like I said, that was an insane ass match.
On the AEW topic,
okay,
that was the big news last night and this morning. But did you see what happened this afternoon with the CM Punk post and delete?
No, I heard
got deleted. I seen some rumblings on Twitter of this though.
So yeah, CM Punk basically just kind of, I think Meltzer might have put something out and he was like replying to it, but ended up being an Instagram story for a minute, deleted it a minute later, but he just kind of was setting the record straight that he wasn't medically cleared and Moxley was pitching the idea. But to me, the big thing out of it is this dude's never seen a Rocky movie. Like CM Punk in his post is like, I never saw a Rocky movie, but Moxley's pitching to do the Rocky 3 thing where he beats me really fast. This is going back to August. He beats me in a squash match. I thought it was a stupid idea. Tony Khan approved it. I went with it because it was approved. I wasn't medically cleared. They were trying to push it. I told them I'd do it if I was medically cleared. I got medically cleared. We did the match. It was dumb. All that went down. But he was, I think, debunking something Meltzer put out. Then he took a shot at Meltzer. He took a shot at Jericho. And then he deleted the tweet like a minute after, or the Instagram post after he put it up. So check it out. It's an interesting little read, and it had Twitter going bananas all afternoon and or into the evening. It's probably still going crazy now as we're doing this live.
So I didn't see the actual post, but I heard what was going on, and I saw a couple interviews where he said that he wants to come back to AEW, which ultimately, dude, I think is probably best for all parties involved, because I mean, you can't say that WWE AEW got their full return on that investment, really.
So love them or hate them, but pro wrestling is better with CM Punk in it.
I can't argue that. I mean, look how many people tuned in one fell swoop just for him to come back.
Yeah.
I mean,
I always respected Punk, obviously, being in the business. I appreciated his style. I thought he could cut a decent promo. I thought he was a little overrated on the mic when he was getting all the praise, because I thought the talent on the mic was just so bad, and him being above average really stood out to be great. But I think as he got going, his promos got better, and then he was, gone from WWE. When he came back to AEW, was probably the best stuff I've seen him doing. He was having well-paced, story-driven matches. He was cutting
that
the best
dog collar match with him and MJF was great.
I'm a sucker for a dog collar match. Always going to be a mark for a dog collar match. So I was in it. But yeah, phenomenal year. I mean, he had really 9 months before he got hurt, and then came back. But the dude won a lot of people over, including me, who was just kind of like, he's a star, but he is who he is. Like, I was indifferent towards him, and he grew on me. And then whatever happened with All Out, it is what it is. I think there's just a lot of people made a lot of bad decisions, and unfortunately people took sides when it's like, let's just look at the reality here. And you got one guy who's mouthing off, and then you got other guys who come in and take offense to it. It's just a lot of bad decisions by nobody's innocent. Nobody's guilty. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Well, friendship and business don't mix, man. I think it works the same way in the pro wrestling world, but having Punk there is going to make a lot of money, and that's what matters when it comes down to it. So I think they just need to come to a decent agreement, and they agree to disagree, and let's move on with it and get them back in there.
And not to mention, like you said, Priest, I mean, ultimately you can say what you want, but their numbers have visibly gone down since Punk's been gone. And that's, and that's just a fact, whether you like it, don't like it, whatever you want. Numbers don't lie, and the numbers dropped a bunch once he left. So, I mean, not much more you can say there other than that guy brings good numbers to him.
Business still on the table to be done. The opportunities there. You do worry about his health. I mean, he tore his foot, and then he tore his bicep, which aren't related, but you have to wonder if, the bicep tear was, working too hard to get back into the ring too fast, and could have tore his bicep on that by, that's most common tear injuries are when you overwork your muscles. So he could have been just rehabbing the foot, but working out like a madman just to get back into ring shape in such a short period of time, and just overdid it. And it was a freak incident. It was on a suicide dive where he tore it.
believe so,
see, and that's the thing. That's why I think him coming back is a great thing for AEW, not just for numbers wise and all that, because we've already heard the next Forbidden Door that's going to be in Toronto. They've already all but sold it out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, look, man, we've talked about this till you're blue in the face, but I think the more companies that are doing well, whether it's AEW, WWE, whatever it is you're talking about, I think AEW being good and being a viable number 2 and them doing well is something that is good for wrestling as a whole. Like I never have understood this whole, oh, I'm a WWE guy, oh, I'm an AEW guy. Look, what the fuck? If they're all good, don't we all win? Like,
there's great things that happen on television every week in every company, whether it be on Raw, on NXT, on Dynamite, on MLW, ROH, SmackDown, or Rampage. Those are 7 shows that if you have cable television, you can easily access, and there's going to be something great on every single one of them. There might be some stuff you don't like, but
that's what you got variety for. And weren't we bitching for the longest time that there wasn't variety?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I guess ROH isn't on that's not on a network, but MLW is on Thursday nights on the Reels channel.
And even at that, Ring of Honor, boy, I really do hope they get them on a TV deal instead of Honor Club. But man, even that, they just said, 2 past guests of the show they just announced for this week's Ring of Honor. You got Shane Taylor with JD Griffey, who's also a past guest of the show, in one corner against fellow past guest of the show, Silas Young. I mean, dude, that's going to be 2 guys beating the dog shit out of each other.
Absolutely. And I meant, I don't know if I said Impact or not. I meant Impact in there because Impact, a couple of weeks ago, I was tuning in, when Allison Kay was on the show. I was like, I haven't watched a full episode of Impact in a while. And outstanding program. Like, front to back, maybe the best show I had watched in weeks. Like, there was no point where I wanted to fast forward. I was like, wow, every match was solid. Promos were solid. They were intriguing. They hooked me, and nobody's talking about it, but it's on Access TV, and it's quality programming. There's great.
I pay for the Impact Insider thing on YouTube. I watch them every week. I had it on. Matter of fact, I'll probably switch it over here in a second, but I watch it every week, dude. That they have, as far as from a front to back show, Impact has probably one of the most solid pro wrestling shows out. Period. Because
I would agree.
There's something of everything. There's stories involved with the stuff. And that's the thing, dude. Like, that again goes back to what we were just talking about, though. Like, everybody wants to complain about this, that, and the other. But, dude, like, I've talked about this with so many people, with them knowing that I'm leaving to go to WrestleMania next week. We're at a time where you have so much good wrestling in so many different places. And, like, as far as to the ones I've been to out of state, this will be my 6th WrestleMania. This will be the 5th one out of state. I'm probably looking forward to most this WrestleMania out of all the ones that I've been to out of state, just because there's so much different shit that I'm looking forward to. Like, it's not just a 1-match card this time. There's matches that are going to be on both nights that I want to see. Like, I feel like obviously Roman and Cody, I like the Edge and Finn Balor thing in Hell in a Cell, because I've said for a long time I don't like the idea of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I feel like we're headed towards Rey and Dominic. I think that's going to be dope. Rhea and Charlotte's going to be badass. There's a lot of the tag match with Kevin and Sammy versus the Usos. I mean, you've got multiple stories that people are paying attention to see. Again, going back to that stories thing. I mean, you've got that there. You've got Impact, like you said. You've got MLW, like we talked about earlier. You've got AEW's got a hell of a women's division there too, and are still doing everything they're going. Like, it's a great damn time to be a wrestling fan. Yeah. And I mean, we're on the road to WrestleMania. I mean, what are you thinking as we head into WrestleMania, and what are you looking forward to?
I'll let J-Bone go. I feel like it's been a minute since my man over here is talking.
I'm taking it all in, man. Well, so obviously you got Mania, right? This is a big deal. We all know it's a great deal. It's the biggest show in professional wrestling. We've been watching this since we've all been born. But the thing that I like most notably recently, the past few years about Mania Weekend is everybody that comes around it. You got all these independent promotions. You got GCW makes a big deal at the Collective, man. You got just so many people flock to the scene, and it really is the best time to be a wrestling fan because you got things like Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Wrestling, there's wrestling just intrigue in everything. Wrestling is taking over the weekend, the week for that matter. And that for me, obviously there's WrestleMania. That's the big one. But to see everybody get to come around it, everybody come together collectively and just support wrestling, man, that is the best part of Mania Weekend for me.
Yeah, hundreds of shows, so much content it exists out there from every independent that runs. Mm-hmm. Somebody, every WrestleMania weekend, somebody's stock as an independent wrestler skyrockets. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, unfortunately. There was the kid, like Blake Christian, maybe last year, that wrestled like 16 matches in 4 days or something like that. Like he had 8 matches, I think, on the Friday alone. Like, you go out there and you're putting your working boots on. You're trying to make a name for yourself. And I could be wrong on who it was. I feel like Blake Christian wrestled a lot. He might not have been the guy who had.
Blake Christian did wrestle a lot.
16 matches. Somebody had 16 matches. I was just blown away.
We talked about this, Kyle, last year after Mania. We talked about the volume of matches. There was like Speedball Mike Bailey. He had a ton of matches.
Speedball killed it.
Yeah, his stock shot through the roof.
Remember Janai Kai had
Janai
7
Kai
matches.
Past guest of the show. Hell yeah.
Something like that. Ninja Max wheel kick. Remember how viral that was? The wheel kick at Bloodsport?
I was there for that at Bloodsport, and that was what was the catalyst to him coming on the show. Now he's doing his thing in Pro Wrestling Noah. And dude, oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait for Bloodsport again this year. That's definitely one of the shows I'm looking forward to most.
Great shows.
For me,
it all builds around WrestleMania. The shows for a hardcore wrestling fan, there's so many more out there that if you want whatever type of wrestling you want, you're going to be able to find on those shows. There's probably going to be better matches in those shows than what we're going to see at WrestleMania, but WrestleMania is what brings people in. That's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, NXT's going to have an afternoon Saturday show. That should be pretty cool to check out.
Yeah. And they've got some good stuff on there, dude.
I believe. I mean, there's just everybody's running. And I think though Mania is what it centers around, and you've got Cody and you've got Roman. That I'm looking. That's the match I want to see. The Usos against Sami and Kevin Owens I want to see that match. To your point, Kyle, like Rey and Dominic, they've built for months and months. Rhea and Charlotte, they're starting to really get behind heavy and building interest in that match. Bianca and Asuka, I feel like it's just kind of flat with the build. So hopefully go home week, they really give that a nice kick in the ass because that feud's been kind of wishy-washy, but the match is going to be.
Oh, the match is going to be money.
That match could steal WrestleMania. Bianca and Asuka might be the best match of the 2 WrestleMania nights. That might be the best one, but it just doesn't have as much build as the others.
You want to know how you make that shit badass? Right when she's about to go try to hit Bianca Belair with the mist, since he's going into the Hall of Fame, have the Great Muta come out and point and just stand at the top of the thing and point, and then have her hit her with the mist. Bam! I just wrote that shit. Pay me a check, WWE.
Maybe it'd be nice to get Muta involved there, but I think he stays away from that match. There might be like a backstage interaction with Asuka and him, which would be real cool. But they're gonna let the ladies shine and they're gonna tear it up. There's other matches that are just escaping me off the top of my head right now.
I've got them all here in front of us.
Almost and Brock Lesnar had a bad rap for a couple weeks there, but you saw when they stood face to face. That I know we saw it with Lashley and Omos last year, but with Omos and Lesnar, that's a match that, it's a spectacle.
I hope it surprises me because I'm going to be honest. That's a match where I was like,
every WrestleMania has that spectacle match. I mean, WrestleMania.
Oh, and it definitely is a spectacle. That's like the 2023 version of Hulk Hogan and Andre.
Every WrestleMania has one. I mean, WrestleMania 23 here in Detroit, I don't know if you guys were there. We had Kane and Great Khali. That was our spectacle match. Was it a classic match? No, but I remember that match. I remember seeing it be like, you got these 2 giant men in the ring, and the crowd. You feel the buzz when you've got larger than life humans inside of a ring, inside of a stadium. It resonates with people. It still goes back to that whole circus freak show origins of wrestling. You know, that's what people are always intrigued to see. So when you've got this matchup, Brock Lesnar, one of the baddest humans walking earth. I mean, what did Pat McAfee call him? The alpha male of our species. And then you've got a guy who makes him look small, makes him look tiny. And fans aren't conditioned to seeing Brock Lesnar look like the smaller man. So it's got that story there. Can Brock Lesnar be an underdog? He's always the big bully. I mean, it writes itself. It's simple. I know it's not. I know a lot of hardcore wrestling fans aren't looking at it as a special matchup, but it's a spectacle. It's a must-see match, and it has me intrigued because I'm like everybody else. I want to see Brock Lesnar F5 this 7'3", 412-pound man.
You know,
we've seen him do a big show.
Dude, did you see it on Raw when he put his hand up to Brock's face?
Yeah.
Dude, I was just like, holy shit. You've never seen Brock's head look small, you know? Like,
yeah.
I met that guy when we were in Vegas. We were outside the hotel.
Oh my God, Kyle, did you come up to his belly button?
I was about to say I came up to about his waist or his fucking belly button. Like I literally looked up and I'm like, holy shit. I shook hands with the guy and my hand like just engulfed, like just engulfed my hand. I'm like, dude, if this guy like wanted to punch you or like just crush your hand, like that's why I always say people give a lot of shit to the Giant Gonzalez, but if that big bastard wanted to hurt you, I still wouldn't want the dude that big coming at you. Well, since we started with that match, obviously Roman and Cody is going to be the main one, and you said that's the match that you're looking forward to.
Absolutely.
How do you see that one, dude? Who do you think's going to win that one?
You know what's funny is the Raw promo from Monday night. Everyone was like, not everyone, but there was a big support for what Roman said in the promo, where he took the shot at Cody running, and he always runs away, and the moment's going to be too big for Cody. And then Cody coming back with what he said and saying that, what was it, the Roman will have no, he'll have no family, or he'll be a man without a family, a Roman without reigns, because Cody's taking his belts, and he'll be a chief without a tribe. And like, like Cody has been absolutely incredible. I thought,
and what he said about Heyman too, after he loses, how Heyman would leave him too.
Go back to being an advocate. And I mean, Cody Rhodes, I mean, in AEW, I felt like he was trying to prove that he could be the face of a company and a top guy. And the fans there they loved to hate him. But I think he earned everybody's respect. He put himself out there. He had the Roads to the Top show. He was doing, what was it, Go Big show. He was really promoting AEW to be something special. And he was the guy who took on that John Cena role, if you will, that Rock role. He wanted to be the face of the company. Somebody had to do it. And then, Jericho has stepped into since Cody's been gone, Jericho's really moved into that spot, which he was capable of doing it from go, but Cody wanted the ball. He ran with it. And I think through that, he learned a lot. He built confidence more than anything. And coming to WWE no longer has that pressure of being like the EVP and it's like the fans are going to love him or hate him. But he stood in the ring with Roman this past Monday. And for weeks now, you've been seeing his confidence grow. When he delivered that promo, I was like, this is the guy. He is the man. He is just as confident. He didn't waver. Roman could have buried him. Cody was unselfish, which you have to be, but he also had confidence in himself, and it didn't come across as forced or phony. Had confidence in himself. He delivered a promo. He sold tickets and built more interest for that match. And I thought he's been the top guy for weeks, and he's proving it week in and week out. And the difference between Cody, when you think back to Daniel Bryan, you think back to his run, the S movement, you think back to Kofi Mania, those were starting to overshadow the guys in the main events there. Sami Zayn had that same momentum. The crowd easily could have turned on Cody, but he's so fucking good. Sorry for my language. He's so good, that he has completely changed that narrative to where the crowd is chanting his name and they're not chanting Sami's name in these segments.
You're not
Put the
kidding.
Fucking belt on him.
Well, you're not kidding. Not to mention, you talk about that kind of stuff. The way he was able to interject himself with KO and Sammy with the promo thing the other day, and the way that him and Heyman have interacted, and Mr. Heyman and all that stuff. Dude, that match is going to be money. And if you're going to have somebody to beat Roman, it needs to be somebody that everybody looks at as a star, because there's already been the rumblings that, maybe Roman needs to go away for a little while or whatever the case might be. If you're going to have somebody beat him, who else in the company is big enough right now that can beat him that isn't already tied up with another match?
Cody and Seth. I mean, Seth wrestled Roman at that Royal Rumble. He didn't beat him, but I mean, you've got a built-in feud there with Cody and Seth. If Roman
for sure.
Away, you run the rematch back at SummerSlam with Cody and Roman, or Seth and Roman. Like, the options are there, but I mean, Seth and Logan Paul. That's a match that people.
That's going to be a show stealer, because being at Mania and seeing his debut like that, like, look, dude, that guy kept up with everybody he's been in the ring with. Say whatever the fuck you want. Logan Paul has kept up with everybody he's been in the ring with, and you give him more time and more experience in big match spots like that, like WrestleMania, dude, he's only going to get better. Like, say what you want. I'm just saying what I saw from the arena. That dude looked like he should be there.
Yeah, he's a star. He carries himself like a star. He acts like a star. He works like a star. He put the effort in. Him and Roman and Saudi was an incredible match. My only worry with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins is I fear that they're going to try to do too much and do something too complicated that a guy with Logan Paul's experience level could throw timing off. It may not happen. He's proven that he can hang in a main event with main event talent. I just know I've seen it with Seth Rollins matches. I've seen it with, younger guys, great athletes. There could be a situation that monkey wrenches that match, and hopefully it's not something that's all people talk about. But if they just keep it at a good pace, it's going to be phenomenal. And I think this WrestleMania card is great. I've seen some people say it looks terrible. I just hope they get. I still want to see the Battle Royals. I know they're talking about not having them, but there's so many guys that have been important on TV that aren't going to have anything to do. And it's like, throw in a fucking Battle Royal. And Baron Corbin's been on TV every week. He's got nothing to do. Madcap Moss won it last year. I
think they've been doing those on like the SmackDown before. Has been when they've been doing the Andre Battle Royal.
Give it to me on SmackDown. Andre Battle Royal.
Yeah,
Mae Young Battle Royal, or Women's Battle Royal, whatever they call it. Give me the Battle Royals. I love me a good Battle Royal.
I've always said Mania Battle Royals are great because it pays homage to the past wrestling. Like in the Golden Era, that was the big match. You got your 20-man Battle Royals. You know what I mean? It was huge. So Battle Royals it's like paying homage to wrestling. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like it's the perfect spot to have it at WrestleMania. I love that.
And give me Rick Boogs to go over in it this year.
Rick Boogs is entertaining as shit. I just hope that he makes it through WrestleMania without fucking his knee up this year, man. Because that was shitty. That was shitty, bro. That was shitty to watch. We'll give you our full breakdown and our picks and everything on WrestleMania come this Tuesday as Mega Ran joins us before we head out to LA for WrestleMania. So I've got plenty more to say on WrestleMania and all that good shit, and we will get to that on Tuesday. But J-Bone, per request of the listeners, I've been asked to give my reviews on WWE 2K23. And since you said that you're going to be getting said game next week, what questions do you got for me when it comes to 2K23? Joey, if you're watching this, here's what I thought on what I've gotten to play so far of 2K23.
First of all, what console are you playing on?
Xbox X. I have the Xbox Series X.
So graphics are probably stellar for that, right?
The graphics on this game are pretty fucking badass. I'm not going to lie. Like, they definitely have stepped that up. I thought 2K22 was done pretty well, but 2K23 definitely visually wise, it looks pretty cool. And the gameplay isn't clunky to where it's like super glitchy or anything. Yeah. Most of what I played so far is the Cena showcase mode.
Okay. And how's that? Explain how that starts off in the beginning.
So that's totally different, right? So usually you're playing as the person throughout all these different matches, but in this one it's different. So you have to play as the person that Cena's fighting against in all these matches. You've got, you start with One Night Stand 2006 with Van Dam and Cena One Night Stand. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then you had it was weird, the timeline. I didn't get the timeline. The timeline was all the fuck over the place, because then the next match was Kurt Angle, the 2002 Ruthless Aggression match, where he smacked the shit out of Kurt Angle. They kind of jumped all over the place, but as far as the gameplay, dude, it was dope as shit. And then I won't spoil it for you, but you really can't see John Cena once you get to the end of it. And the match that you have to play at the end of it, holy shit. The bonus match, the only match that you actually play is Cena. It's Cena versus Hulk Hogan versus Bruno Sammartino versus Stone Cold. And you have to, and the objectives in it are, you have to pin or put out each person in the match. So it's a pain in the ass, because then you essentially have to break up the pins anytime somebody pins them, because to complete the objectives, you have to pin them all. So, and not to mention, we're talking about like 80s Hogan, Bruno, and obviously Stone Cold is Stone Cold. So yeah, it was
it's like a GOAT fatal 4-way type gig.
Is that 2K telling us that's their Mount Rushmore?
Yeah,
I mean, shit, it wouldn't be a bad one if you were going. You only got to add one more. I don't know who you add as the fifth one for that, but that's dude, that's a bad motherfucker, and I still have to finish that match. But next, I'm going to jump on the My Rise and the career mode. I will give you guys my thoughts on that once I.
Do they have a GM mode in this one?
Yep, they got GM mode, they got a WWE Universe mode, and then they got the My Rise and the Showcase. But dude, the Showcase, pretty badass. Graphics are sweet on 2K23 so far. Gameplay is pretty cool. I don't like the new pin system. I went back to the button one where you just gotta like tap it, because I don't like the new pin system. But with that being said, the game itself is pretty badass.
I'll be playing GM mode. That's the only time I ever get to play Booker, man. So I'll be on that.
Well, shit, man. If you pay attention to the show, I might be playing Booker, man, come soon.
I know that.
Stuff come back to the city, So with that being said, we've talked about wrestling. We've talked a little bit about what Priest is looking forward to as far as WrestleMania. But tomorrow, J-Bone, the champ, is stepping back into the ring. We got past guests of the show. Britton Hart Beltran is stepping back into the ring against the Tennessee Gangster. Jenny Savage is going to scrap it out with Britton Hart. What do you think about this BKFC card, bro? I hope they really have a good showing, especially since last week's card got canceled the day before.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they had that little momentum wave just kind of shut down with that last card being canceled. But hey, the co-main event and the main event for this one, like you said, Britton Hart, past guest of the show, man. I'm looking forward to her. I want to see her get out there and get the dub, man. Keep that belt. What is she, strawweight champ, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So and she's going. I think her opponent's record's 3-1. I mean, I don't know as far as her past, but Britton Hart ain't no joke. So we already know how that goes. I'm looking forward to seeing her get in there and get a knockout, man. Let's go.
Throw them hands. Priest, do you watch any of the bare knuckle stuff like that?
I mostly just clips, highlights. It's weird, because as I've gotten older, I mean, I'll be 40 here in like 2 months, but as I've gotten older, like just the bare knuckle stuff, which appealed to me tremendously a couple years ago, I just don't have the interest. It's like violence in general. It's just getting old, and I just want everyone to be okay and healthy and happy. And it's just funny because you see these, you see like even with MMA fights, you see some pretty gruesome like knockouts and stuff, and like the slap fighting and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know why. I mean, young me would have been all over this, loving it. And I'm like, I feel bad for the person that got knocked out.
I mean, dude, the bare knuckle ones are just gnarly to watch, and especially
I saw Lieben's fight. I bought Lieben's fight.
Oh yeah,
I had to watch my boy Chris Lieben. But yeah, that was the last one I bought. I just watched the highlights and the clips. I know is Holly Holm doing bare knuckle now? Is that what?
Nope, Holly Holm's in the co-main this weekend for the UFC.
Oh, she's in the UFC still. So okay, I misunderstood this. Yeah, what is that UFC card this weekend? Because I watched the Gaethje and Fizz fight, and then Usman.
That was another thing I wanted to talk to you about. What were your thoughts on Gaethje and Fiziev, and what were your thoughts on Usman and Edwards?
You know, it wasn't financial. It wasn't good for me betting on Fizz by knockout. I didn't think Gaethje's chin would hold up because he's been in so many wars. But man, I didn't see him coming out on that side. But I was glad I threw some money on Leon Edwards. I think I was telling Corey, he fixed my garage, ironically, and we were here, and I said, I just think Leon's one of those guys. He's just got Usman's number. You see these fights through history, and Usman probably a better overall fighter, more dominant fighter than Leon Edwards, but Leon Edwards in a matchup with Kamaru Usman, he just has his number, and I said that, and when he told me that the betting odds at the time were over plus 200, I literally walked to my house, I put $20 on it, so... Thank you, Leon Edwards, for confirming my gut instinct there. But I thought for sure Fizz would have been.
Bro, so why the hell are you holding out on Scoops? Are you getting in the ring this weekend? What the fuck?
What do you mean? I have no desire to ever step foot in a ring.
It should be a phenomenal time. Maybe Mathew Priest will get in the ring. Somebody at Clash.
I'll get in the ring. I ring announce, so I will be getting in the ring. I'll be holding the mic. I mean, yeah, I hate calling it a ring announcer because I hope Matt Bishop's there. I don't think he's going to be, unfortunately. I mean, to toot my own horn here, but I think what Matt Bishop and I do is different from what every other independent show does. I mean, Matt Bishop is outstanding at what he does, and we kind of we're more like front men for the show, and like the matches are the music. And we're out here, like, we're engaging with the fans, and we're making it a big part of the experience with the fans and keeping them engaged. And it's more than just ring announcing. I think anybody can ring announce, but I think hosting and building that rapport and trust with your audience is something different. Bishop and I do a great job of that, I think. And and I look forward to getting out there and seeing the fans. And, interacting with them and having fun and that's what Clash Wrestling is all about. Is we just get to go out there and we have fun together. It's more like a concert is how I view what I do. It's like an MC or a host, but it's more of a concert environment for me, and going out there and having fun with the fans, getting them involved. Like I said, the kids come around the ring, and just engaging people and letting everyone have fun. And that's important to me, more so than just going out there and announcing the matches. That's it's a necessity. But the stuff in between is what I love. And that's what I still love about the pro wrestling business, is the stuff in between of the necessity.
Make sure you guys check out Seize the Day this weekend, Clash Wrestling. Make sure you check it out. Well, you told us what you thought about Usman. I think Gaethje surprised a lot of people. He said he wants to make one more run of the title. We're going to have to see what really comes next for him, because, I mean, he's right kind of in that holding pattern with Islam and who do they got? Who's number 2 at 155? Plus, you got Bernil Dariush and Oliveira going to fight here soon.
Yeah.
So you've got 155 is pretty well deadlocked, but man, Gaethje looked good. He didn't take a lot of damage, and he put some damage on Fiziev's face, when I really thought with the way Gaethje's style is, that Fiziev might be able to counter the hell out of him, but that's not how that fight went.
I thought for sure I'm like, Gaethje's been in too many wars. His chin's going, you just get those guys, and I thought his time was up, but he'll prove me wrong. I'll keep betting against him, and he'll keep proving me wrong, because that's typically how it goes. But eventually I'm going to be right. Eventually his chin's going to be gone, like all those great stand-up fighters, war horses, what happens to them all.
Dude, that was a fucking fight.
I thought that was at least going to be, that wasn't going the distance. I would have put the house on it, dude, and I would have lost.
Bro, so. I bet against it not being a decision either, so we're all in the same boat on this one. Speaking of things that might not go to decision, this weekend you've got a fucking banger for a main event in the bantamweight division. You've got Cheeto Vera versus Corey Sandhagen in the main event for the UFC this weekend. Who do you guys like in that one? J-Bone, who you got?
My boy Cheeto Vera, man, been riding with that guy for a minute. I'm glad to see him get this fight, but man, what a dangerous fight. This could go either way. And like you said, it's going to be a banger. You know what's crazy is we expect this one to not go the distance, but this could be a 5-round chess match, dude. And it very well could go the distance. I mean, honestly, that might be the safer bet because you never know. But
yeah,
you see what happens.
I think it's going 5.
So
I think
I'd love to. It's going to be a good fight, though. I'll tell you what, for a free fight, well, I mean, unless you don't have ESPN Plus, but for this being a non-pay-per-view fight, dude, what a main event. That is huge.
And you've got Andrea AGB Lee versus Macy Barber on this card, too. And Holly Holm versus Yana Santos is your co-main event on that one. And then you've got Chidi Njokuani versus Albert Duraev, which Chidi Njokuani, if you guys remember, Anthony Njokuani, anytime that guy gets in the ring, there's a good chance somebody's head's getting kicked in the third row. So there's other fights to be looking for on that one.
Great betting odds on the Vera Sandhagen fight, too. Great betting odds.
According to what UFC says, it says it's plus 140 for Cheeto and minus 165 for Sandhagen.
Yeah, it moves.
So
it's depending on which book you go to, but it's Sandhagen's a favorite, Vera's the dog, but I mean, even on will the fight go the distance? I mean, it's pretty split. It's like minus 120 to plus money. So I mean, I lean towards it's going to go the distance, kind of what J-Bone there was saying. I think it's going to, and if it does, unfortunately, that favors Sandhagen. But
I think Sandhagen wins this one by a nasty decision. I feel like Cheeto's going to be not dominating. I think they're going to beat the shit out of each other for 5 rounds. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that Cheeto's going to land good shots, but he's not going to be able to land that shot that's going to be able to knock Sandhagen out the way he has everybody else. Because if you notice, a lot of the shots that Cheeto's landed, like for knockouts and stuff like that, have been shots where he's timed it. Or like he's swarmed somebody with a combination, then he hits him as he's moving away like he did with Dominic Cruz. I think with that being said, I think Sandhagen wins this one. But I think it's by decision too. But that being said, I mean, if Cheeto Vera gets this one, I don't think there's any real way to say that he doesn't fight for a belt next.
Yeah, I think it's like my heart wants Vera to come out with the win, but I just don't see. The last time I saw both guys fight, I just feel like Sandhagen is just a more controlled fighter, and he'll pull it out.
See, here's the thing, though. I say that, but I also say all the time on the show that I'm a big fan of momentum, and Cheeto Vera's got momentum. Yes, so, I mean, that's something to think about because, like I said, I'm a firm believer that that's something that not only matters in pro wrestling in the squared circle, it also matters inside the octagon. But, you know, before we talk about Holly Holm and what we could see with her and Yana Santos, make sure you check out our other sponsors, G3 Payroll and Tax. Make sure you tell them that Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. If you haven't got your taxes together, check out that link in the description. Make sure you check out G3 Payroll and Tax. I'm already sitting good come WrestleMania season because I got a nice return from Jack and the homies at G3. Make sure you do that. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. Get some fucking money and bet it on DraftKings. But with that being said, Holly Holm, man, she keeps getting in these fights where it's like it's a big enough fight. She's co-main event again. But again, I feel like we got a fight where she should win. Like, not any disrespect to Yana Santos, but I feel like Holly Holm wins this fight.
I'm with you on that, though, because, I mean, but at the same time, there's got to be an end, right? Eventually.
Yeah. I
do an end.
I think we're getting closer and closer to it with each one of these fights.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the women's, it's for me, it's harder to bet on because I don't know how to word this properly, but I feel like when they decline, it's far more rapid. and the younger fighter has a bigger advantage than you do with like the guys for some reason. I don't know why. I could be just completely a misconception on my part, but we saw it with so many fighters like going. I mean, even Cyborg. Like once she got older, her skills just declined so quickly.
Well,
and Carano
so Carano, I can agree with. Cyborg, I mean, she went to Bellator and still was killing people over there in Bellator too. So, I mean, and she's
but the level of competition, like she dominated.
Sure, but I mean, to be fair, in her defense, I mean, she wanted to fight Nunez again, and the UFC wouldn't give her that fight. So
I feel like she was done at that point. But like, I mean, yeah, even Nunez, she just got beat by Juliana Pena, but
and
it's just I don't know why it is. Like I said, I could be just wildly wrong, but I feel like Holly Holm.
I get what you're saying, and I think the reason why you see that more in the women's side of fighting is because women's MMA, even though it's been around for a long time now, is still a newer sport, and I feel like the evolution of women's MMA is still kind of progressing, where the men's side of the game has been around longer. So you're seeing, once a fighter maybe hits that peak and then starts to fall down a little bit, it's like you're kind of seeing a more rapid decline. But I think that's because the overall game of women's MMA is still being developed more, as opposed to men's MMA, because I would argue that a lot of the younger men's MMA fighters that are coming out with, a lot more well-rounded games now than what you would see back in the day, where women's MMA is still evolving at such a rate that you're seeing better and better fighters, but you're seeing a quicker decline, because once you see these new young women that are coming up that can do everything, like an Erin Blanchfield, you're seeing them just come out and take somebody out, and everybody's like, oh shit, who is this? Right, I think that's kind of what we're seeing in the women's division versus like the men's. But I feel like with each passing year, it's kind of it's starting to, progress as we go.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. I think that's the best way to have put that. I think of like Julia Budd and how quick she declined, to Shayna Baszler when she was fighting, and how quickly she declined. And I think I'm just stuck on the women that built the sport and how quickly they declined, as opposed to, I mean, even Joanna to a degree, but yeah, I think, who'd Shevchenko, what was Shevchenko and Grasa? Even that fight,
Shevchenko just lost to Grasa.
And it's like, I don't think Shevchenko's done, or like,
I don't either. They're already running that fight back, but
it's like, I mean, these women's fights, no matter what, I just don't know who to trust. I feel like any fight.
Valentina is a perfect example of what you're saying. I think the reason why Valentina was so dominant for so long is because she was one of the few women's fighters that really could do everything. She could outstrike you, she could take you down, she could beat you up on the ground and submit you. So she could literally do everything, which, it's the same as, you mentioned Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler. They were one of the first ones who you really saw that were beating people up on the ground. We heard past guests of the show, Tara LaRosa, talk about that when she's fought Shayna, 2-3 times, and for the Bodog title and things. Yeah, so I think
Bodog cards.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think,
and that was my peak like MMA fandom, was Bodog, and like that mid 2000s. It was great.
That tells you how long I've been around this shit. But I really got around MMA around my freshman year of high school, so 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
So
those were the Bodog days.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, I think that's the big difference we're seeing in female MMA and men's MMA. But regardless, we're seeing banger fights. Yeah. J-Bone, before we get out of here, since you're talking about odds and everything, and Priest, since you're a person who fancies the odds yourself, do y'all want to throw together a parlay for these motherfuckers real quick?
Let me pull out my old trusty device here. Well, first one I am gonna do. I'm gonna do Cheeto Vera by decision. I'm gonna put that little
550.
Yeah, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of money on that, and then I'm gonna parlay that. I'm gonna get a Holly Holm TKO. So I gotta.
TKO.
Yeah, you got the hands, man. she's got the hands, and I don't think she can stand with her. So
what I ask you to do there as a man who loves himself some gambling is also just do Vera and Holm just to win outright in case they don't win by. You would hate to see Holly Holm drop her, pound it on her, and then put her in an RNC, and the poor girl taps, and you're out there going.
These things have happened to me.
Yeah, you gotta cover all your bases.
Yeah,
gotta cover your bases.
Agreed.
But yeah, no, I definitely do like. Oh man, I liked. I don't know if I can parlay it with anything. My thing's not working right now. Let me try again. All right. I do like that the fight will go to the distance for the main event. It's minus 128. And parlay that with Holmes, just money line. It gives you a plus 149 bet. So I like being on the plus side with a parlay. I know it's not sexy, but hey, you throw $10 on that, and you're looking at 15 to win 15. That's pretty good.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Look, I'm talking legacy bet here, bro. I'm talking prize money bet. We're chasing the money. Look, if I take Vera by decision, that's plus 600 on my book, and then Holly Holm to win by TKO, that's plus 350. That's a big bet, bro. And
okay, we were talking about some of these parlays that you could get like same fight ones. You want to talk about one that's totally possible for it to happen, but would be a huge fucking return? It's Cheeto Vera to win by KO, TKO, or DQ, or decision. Chidi Inja Kawani to win by knockout, TKO, or DQ, and Manel Kape to win by KO, TKO, or DQ. And the odds are plus 1440.
Nice.
So your bet there, Jay Bones, plus 30.85.
Yeah, that's what I see. That's what I need. Sprinkle a couple bucks on there, man. If it hits, you're sitting pretty. If you lose, at least you wing it.
You know what? Fuck it. I know which one I'm going with. This is the one I'm about to put some money on it right now.
But that's my problem on UFC bets. I will openly admit this. I chase the money on the winning methods. I tend to stay away from money lines. That's only because I'm not betting a lot of money. Betting the small money.
I'm a man who bets very little, but I bet a lot. But I bet very little with each bet. I looked at I'm not going to give the numbers out, but I looked at my FanDuel account with how much I've spent since betting's been legalized. It's more than I could have imagined, considering I'm a guy who bets every night on all sports. I mean, I've got 6 hockey bets in tonight. A couple of March Madness bets.
Priest is trying to quit his day job.
But no. It's all fun because I don't bet much. I bet to win like $5, $4 or $5, like bet to win $4 or $5, not necessarily. I'm just doing it for fun, and I can confidently say I have never done more than I put one deposit in my account when FanDuel got launched, and I have been playing on my winnings ever since, and they are on the plus side, very much so. So
very nice.
I'm up on the plus right now on my DraftKings as well. So just so we can run it down, J-Bone, what was your parlay again?
So I had Cheeto Vera by decision and Holly Holm by TKO. You wanted me to pick 3, right?
Yep.
Oh, a third.
So the other one,
you can do it too if you want. If that's what if that's
who's gonna win me a lot of money anyway. But
no, that's cool.
I'm gonna take Macy Barber money line just to throw on that against Andrea Lee.
So what's that put your odds at?
According to DraftKings, mine is at plus 42.38.
Damn, dude.
That's big. Put $1 on that, that's $42.
You're chasing the money around, man. You put a nice hard-earned crispy $5.
And that was Macy Barber money line, Cheeto Vera by decision, and what else?
Holly Holm by TKO. Not a bad
gig. That boy is moving. But I've got one that and Priest, did you lay one out already? What was your?
Like I said, I'll play it safe, and I would just go if you even want to be a smart gambler, you can do Sandhagen and home money line for plus money. But if you do Sandhagen home and Barber, you're looking at plus 207. It's simple. It's easy. Following J-Bo in there. But if I go with Vera, Holm, and Barber, following J-Bo, just money line, just straight up money line, no method of victory, you're looking at plus 361. So that's what I'm going with is Vera, Barber, Holm, money line, all of them, plus 360.
I think I've got the winner thanks to the homies over at DraftKings. I've already got my bet queued up and ready to go. It's a three-leg parlay. It's Corey Sandhagen to win by KO, TKO, DQ, or decision. Holly Holm to win by KO, TKO, DQ, or decision, and Nate Landwehr to win by KO, TKO, DQ, or decision. And if I win, the odds are and it's got Manel Cap on there as well. I take that back. Hang on one second. Let me get the other shit off of there.
So no submissions.
Yeah, let me get
submissions are your doom.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's no submissions are in submissions would be my doom. So Corey Sandhagen to win by KO, DQ, KO, TKO, DQ, or decision. Holly Holm the same, and Nate Landwehr the same. If you bet on that, the odds on it are
plus 20, right? Plus 20 something.
Yeah, it's wanting to be stupid. I just had it up here. There you go. There it goes. All right, take that back. It was with Manel Cap. I take that back. So it's Corey Sandhagen to win by TKO or DQ. And you've also got those three, Macy Barber to win, and then Manel Cap to win by any means necessary. But if you bet on that shit, it's plus 746. So I'm putting 15 on that joint right quick. If I win 126 of them hoes. So I'm hoping that I win some money. Let's see. Let us know if you guys are following any of these parlays that we're throwing out. Make sure you're following us at KO3C Pod, following Priest, and letting us know if you are following any of the stuff. And if you're at Clash Seize the Day, let him know what parlays you got, and let us know at KO3C Pod.
I'd love to hear. I love talking sports betting. So talk to me. If the show's over, you can fill me in on your bets. Also, one cheap plug here for myself. I think last time I was on the show, or maybe the time before that, I just filmed a movie called Made for This. It was a boxing movie, so it's topical with the thing. It's a boxing movie called Made for This. Tony Harrison, Detroit's own, is in the movie. Great boxer. His gym is the backdrop for a lot of it. Nonetheless, this movie is available now for everyone on Tubi, so you can see me on the Tubi. You can watch a great Detroit film with Tony Harrison and some great up and coming actors. Antoine Jackson in that movie is on the cusp of stardom. He was just in Ant-Man and Wasp, playing a king body double. So a lot of great, talented actors in this film. I have a small role. I'm a ring announcer. Hey, nothing off the thing there, but it's a great movie. I support it. Just got nominated for some independent film. I don't know what it is. Film festival showings. So pretty cool to be a small part of that project. But shout out to those guys. And if you got Tubi and you want to watch a boxing movie, check it out.
Hell awesome. Yeah! Shout out to Tony Harrison, man. He just fought against Costa Zoo's kid. Didn't go very well, but hey, man, we rock with our own from Detroit.
Yeah,
going down there, rocking the Red Wings fit out there in Australia.
That was sweet. That was sick.
Yeah, dude, that shit was badass. You can't miss it. You can't play with it. That being said, it looks like we're at the end of our time. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, the share button, and make sure you're checking us out this Tuesday as we've got the return of the homie Mega Ran as he's talking about the new EP. Wrestling is real. People are fake. I agree with that. Until next time and in the in-between time, hit that fucking button. Peace.